The ultimatum. The emergency session klaxon tore through the Galactic Council chamber with a shrieking urgency that hadn't been heard in 217 years. Ambassador Velshera of the Pelasian Federation felt her chromatophores flash involuntary colors of alarm, deep purples and electric blues that rippled across her translucent skin before she could control them. Around the circular amphitheater, representatives from 43 species scrambled to their designated platforms, their various forms of panic creating a cacophony of clicks, whistles, growls, and electromagnetic pulses. Order! High Mediator Krenvas boomed, his towering crystalline form refracting the chamber's lights into dancing rainbows that did nothing to calm the assembly. We convene under Protocol Sigma, existential threat to member species. Velshera steadied herself on her platform's railing, her four manipulator tendrils gripping the cool metal as the chamber's holographic core flickered to life. What materialized above them made her bioluminescent organs dim with dread. The message was simple. Brutally, terrifyingly simple. To Earth, Sol System, Unified Human Government. From Supreme Command, Crithian Concord. You have 72 hours to surrender unconditional control of your system, all colonial holdings, and military assets to the Crithian Concord. Failure to comply will result in the systematic destruction of your homeworld and the elimination of your species from galactic records. Your primitive defenses and limited technological advancement make resistance futile. This is not a negotiation. This is an inevitability. The countdown began at 0600 Standard Galactic Time. Submit or be erased. The hologram rotated slowly, broadcasting on every frequency known to spacefaring civilization. 40 billion beings had already seen it. Trillions more would within the hour. This is insanity, hissed Representative Thokmar, his reptilian features contorted in what passed for shock among his species. The Crithians have gone too far. Earth is a Council observer world, threatening them violates 12 treaties and treaties mean nothing if there's no one to enforce them, interrupted Ambassador Xyaloth, her mechanical exoskeleton clicking with agitation. The Crithian military spans 47 systems. They command 3,000 capital-class warships. They're not making idle threats, they're announcing conquest. Velshera's mind raced through everything she knew about Earth. Humanity had joined the galactic community 153 years ago, emerging from their yellow star system with crude faster-than-light drives and an almost childlike enthusiasm for the cosmos. They'd been cautious, diplomatic, perhaps even timid in their first decades among the stars. Their military was adequate, enough to defend their 18 colony worlds from pirates and the occasional territorial dispute, but nothing that would concern a power like the Crithian Concord. They were traders, artists, scientists. They ran some of the galaxy's best hospitals, their music had become surprisingly popular among the methane breathers of Sector 8, and their cuisine, that strange obsession with combining incompatible flavors, had caught on in the Outer Rim. They were nice. Friendly. Harmless, really. So why did she feel this gnawing sensation in her cognitive cluster? Has Earth responded? She asked, her voice cutting through the rising arguments. High Mediator Krenvas dimmed several of his internal lights, his species equivalent of a grave expression. That's the disturbing part, Ambassador. Earth has gone completely silent. Define silent, Velshera said carefully. Every channel. Every frequency. All diplomatic communications, trade negotiations, civilian broadcasts, everything ceased exactly 17 minutes after the Crithian message was transmitted. Krenvas gestured, and new data flooded the holographic display. Their embassy here at Council Station went dark. Staff are present but have locked themselves in and refuse all contact. Human vessels across the galaxy have begun systematic recalls to their nearest colonies. And Earth itself. He pulled up a real-time feed from the Sol System monitoring station, maintained by a neutral Pelasian observation team. The feed showed Earth, that beautiful blue-green marble, rotating peacefully in its orbital track. Luna hung nearby, its gray surface pocked with human industrial facilities. The usual traffic of cargo haulers, passenger liners, and defense satellites crisscrossed the system in organized patterns. Everything looked normal. Everything looked too normal. "They're not responding to hails," Krenvas continued. "They're not scrambling their military. They're not evacuating civilians. They're not doing anything except continuing their daily routines as if they haven't just been threatened with extinction." "Perhaps they're in shock," suggested Ambassador Prillik, his gaseous form swirling uncertainly in his containment vessel. "Or perhaps they're fools," spat General Kaksin of the Vorath Imperium, his 6 arms crossing in disdain. "They're a young species. They've never faced real war. They probably don't comprehend what's about to happen to them." Velshera's chromatophores flashed irritated orange. She'd studied humanity extensively. It was part of her role as the Pelasian diplomatic liaison to the younger species. She'd walked the streets of New Geneva, had dinner with human philosophers, debated ethics with their political leaders. There was something about them that had always unsettled her in a way she couldn't articulate. They smiled too easily. Laughed too readily. They seemed almost desperate to be liked, to be accepted into the galactic community. They made self-deprecating jokes about their own primitive origins, their violent history, their slow technological development. They were the first to offer aid during natural disasters, the last to take offense during trade disputes. But beneath all that friendliness, Velshera had occasionally glimpsed something else. A flicker in their eyes when certain topics arose. A careful way they changed subjects when asked about Earth's pre-contact era. Their military officers had a peculiar habit of never discussing anything before first contact except in the vaguest terms. She'd once asked a human admiral, a woman named Chen, during a diplomatic function, about Earth's history of warfare. The admiral had smiled, that easy human smile, and said, "We had our rough patches. Doesn't everyone? But we grew past that. We're better now. Better now." As if something had changed. As if they'd been something different before. "We need to attempt mediation," Velshera announced. "The Krithians must be made to understand that Earth is under Council protection, however unofficial. We cannot allow." "Allow?" Kaksin laughed, a harsh barking sound. "Ambassador, the Krithians have been expanding aggressively for 30 years. They've absorbed 17 minor species, each time claiming preemptive defense or regional stability. The Council issued strongly worded condemnations. Imposed sanctions that they ignored. We've done nothing because none of us want to face their armada. Then what do you suggest?" Velshera demanded, her bioluminescence flaring bright with anger. "We watch while they commit genocide." "I suggest we document," Kaksin replied coldly. "And we learn. Perhaps watching the Krithians crush Earth will teach the rest of us what happens when you're too weak to matter." The chamber erupted into arguments. Some species called for intervention. Others counseled neutrality. A few, like the Vorath, seemed almost eager to see what would happen when an unstoppable force met an insignificant object. Velshera tuned them out, pulling up her private data terminal and accessing the Pelasian intelligence archive. She navigated through layers of classified information until she found what she was looking for, the complete first contact report from Earth, compiled by the survey ship that had first discovered humanity's radio signals. Most of it was standard, technological assessment, biological catalog, cultural overview. But there was an addendum, flagged with a purple notation that indicated unconfirmed but concerning. She'd never bothered to read it before. The report was filed by Survey Captain Thal9, a Pelasian who'd retired shortly after first contact. Velshera expanded the text. While initial contact with humanity proceeded smoothly, certain aspects of their civilization warrant long-term observation. Their planet shows evidence of recent, extensive warfare, radiation signatures consistent with atomic weapons use, atmospheric scarring, and mass extinction events in their fossil record occurring within the last century of their development. When questioned about this, human representatives became evasive. They acknowledged conflicts but refused to provide details, citing that those times were behind them and that they chose a different path forward. Linguistic analysis of their cultural databases revealed troubling patterns. Humanity has over 170 words for different types of warfare. Their literature is saturated with conflict narratives. Their technological development path prioritized weapons advancement at multiple stages. Most concerning, during our cultural exchange, I witnessed a human child's educational program. The lesson was about their planet's history. When the section on pre-contact warfare began, the child asked their teacher, "Why did we stop?" The teacher's response was recorded as, "Because we decided killing each other was less interesting than meeting everyone else. But we still remember how, just in case." Just in case. I recommend categorizing humanity as potentially dormant aggressive. They have chosen peace, but the phrasing suggests they could unchoose it. Velshera felt her chromatophores cycle through colors she couldn't control. The report had been filed away, marked as speculation from an overly cautious officer. Humanity had been so friendly, so eager to please, that no one had taken it seriously. We still remember how, just in case. She pulled up the current time, 61 hours and 34 minutes until the Crithian deadline. And Earth remained silent. Not panicking. Not begging for help. Not scrambling their fleets or evacuating their civilians. Just, silent. Velshera thought about that word the child's teacher had used. Remember. Not learned or know. Remember. As if warfare was something they'd once been intimately familiar with. Something they'd deliberately set aside but kept in memory. She accessed the live feed from Sol System again. Ships moving in ordinary patterns. Cities glowing on Earth's night side. The massive orbital stations conducting their regular operations. Everything normal. Everything too normal. Because what kind of species, she thought with growing unease, what kind of species receives a threat of total extinction and responds with silence? The kind that's done this before, whispered a traitorous thought in her cognitive cluster. The kind that knows exactly what's about to happen. The kind that's waiting. High Mediator, Velshera said, her voice cutting through the arguing assembly. I request permission to attempt direct contact with Earth's government. Through unofficial channels. Krenvasa's lights flickered uncertainty. The humans have sealed themselves off, Ambassador. They've made it clear they want no interference. Then why did they broadcast their silence across every channel? Velshera countered. If they wanted privacy, they would have simply stopped responding. Instead, they made sure everyone knew they'd gone quiet. That's not isolation. That's a message. A message saying what? Velshera looked at the countdown timer, watching seconds tick away toward something the galaxy wasn't prepared for. I don't know, she admitted. But I think we're about to find out what humanity was like before they decided to be nice. The chamber fell silent at that, the weight of her words settling over the assembled species like a shroud. Above them, the timer counted down. 61 hours, 12 minutes. And from Earth, not a single word. Just silence. Waiting.